Hello, welcome back to the channel, and today we'll be doing a bit of a different video from what we've been doing recently with very football-heavy stuff, but it is March, and fittingly, I thought we should start doing a little bit of basketball content here. I'll probably do some March Madness predictions like I did last year. I'll get some, when I get more time this weekend, I'll be sure to record a bunch of videos for that. And not only that, but also videos for the conference tournaments, hopefully, like a quick brief through maybe, just like a what you've missed so far in college basketball. Along with some videos on like NFL draft tier lists like I did last season. So, um, but today we're talking about the Detroit Pistons. Obviously, the Pistons are a nightmare. Tied for the worst record in the league as of this recording. The Wizards do play tonight, so maybe they could slow. Hopefully they don't win, so Pistons can at least not be last again. But with a historic win streak or loss streak earlier in the season, our coach seemingly trying to throw on purpose. I figured there's a few things to save the Pistons, but the number one thing is utilizing the cap space you've always had. By the title and thumbnail, I think it's pretty obvious who I'm going to be talking about here. It is Miles Bridges. Now, obviously, Miles Bridges has a very controversial, I guess, standing in the league, or I don't even know how to put it politely. The dude is a not great human being, apparently. Um, he had a very, almost saying that's bad now that I'm just thinking about it, right? Because he had one really, 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 really bad day. Um, could that be just one time off potentially? I know there's a lot of investigations around it, and I don't really want to get into that as specific, but I think it's very, very obvious that the Pistons are kind of, figuring that they're going to offer this guy damn near a max contract. I think that it was all but confirmed that they're one of the teams that did offer it to him right before it happened. Because I believe the whole DV situation, and I think it's now obviously confirmed, occurred right before he was about to be a restricted free agent. And I don't know if the Hornets were going to match what the Pistons were going to offer, but 2 years later, we find ourselves in the spot where I believe he's an unrestricted free agent. He had a qualifying offer extended last year when he became off of suspension, and now he's come back. And as it happens to be with most bad situations involving athletes, the better you perform, and the long, I guess like the more points or whatever you want to say, tackles, sacks, interceptions, in this case, dunks and threes, you put up, the more we forget really about what happened, as bad as that sounds. He's putting up a career high in points, a career high 3-point percentage, include factoring in the fact that he's shooting a lot more than he has. And he's doing really well from the field as well, on 38 minutes a game. 37 minutes a game. He is averaging 45% from the field on 17 shots, 2.4 threes per game on 3.5 attempts. 6.5 attempts. That'd be really good. And he's got 7.5 rebounds, 3.5 assists, half a block, a steal, a game, along with 2 turnovers. So pretty efficient there. And then 21.1 points to lead, I believe, the Hornets. But you can kind of see what's going on with the Hornets. And this is going to sound really dumb probably, but the Hornets have a lot of ball dominant players. Him and Brandon Miller have been playing well together. I'm sure Brandon Miller would rather have the ball more than he does. When they get LaMelo Ball back from another injury, obviously he has a very ball dominant personality. I think you'll be able to probably overpay a bit. I think if there's ever a guy that needed a reset in terms of location, it would be Miles Bridges. Obviously, he is from Michigan, more specifically Flint. Went to Flint Southwestern before going out to Huntington Prep in West Virginia for high school. Then obviously returned to Michigan State, where he was there for 3 seasons before doing very well there in high school or college. He was a McDonald's All-American, all-freshman team. He was the Big Ten Freshman of the Year, and second team All-Big Ten as a freshman. And then his last season, 2018, he was first team All-Big Ten. I believe it was just 2 seasons, but 2016, 18 would be 16, 17, 17, 18. So it was his second season. So he was All-Big Ten, and he was in the second team All-American 2018 on a very good Spartan team. And that's me coming from a Michigan fan. So, he did lead. Yeah, they lost in the second round. I think it was him and Jaren Jackson, I believe, were on the same team. So he went to the Hornets, obviously initially with it was either him or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander went to the pick that the Pistons had that they gave up because I know the Hornets got like 2 picks and then swapped it. There was some weird thing. So either he could have been a potential Piston, either him or Shai Gilgeous-Alexander. Obviously, we would have loved both, or either really at this point. But he's done a lot in the league. He started off 12th pick overall. Yep, traded to the Hornets, exchange for SGA. He signed a 4-year contract. He won the Rising Stars MVP for Team USA when it was USA versus World and that crazy dunk contest at the end. He had a 35 point 10 rebound game on November 2021. And then, yeah, he's really gone up since then. And then clearly got his career derailed by the DV situation off the floor. So, but I think, how does he fit with the Pistons? You look at the Pistons currently, and you're like, who can create their own shot? I mean, Cade, can Ivy, probably. Bojan obviously could have. He was gone. Alec Burks could have gone. And you look at a guy like Fontecchio, right? He was an afterthought in Utah, and he comes in and he's one of our best players immediately. Even Quentin Grimes is coming and checking up shots. Evan Fournier is getting up shots. What if those shots are going to a guy like Miles Bridges, who can create his own shot off the dribble? He can drive the rack with absolute ferocious monstrosity, like LeBron-esque driving to the hoop. He can shoot it pretty well from the outside. Again, a bit of a volume shooter, kind of a chucker at times, but we kind of live with those chucks when he scores 21 a game. He would give a Cade another option, not only another option that can actually shoot, but can slash. He's kind of like almost like the perfect build of what you want a Star Thompson to be. If it's hard to start to catch the ball and shoot the ball, along with his elite slashing the build to the basket. Excuse me. So, and only 25 years old, he's 6'7", 225. You could get an absolute hyper freak athlete on the wing. I think is pretty much the piece this team's missing. You could probably start him maybe at the 4, even if you wanted to have Fontecchio and Bridges at the same time on the floor. You can get creative, whether you want Duren or Stewart at the center, probably Duren, and then him at the 4. Or you could start them both, I guess. You could have Stewart at the 4, that if you still think there's a thing, and then Bridges at the 3, and you get really interesting in terms of the rest of the lineup there. But I think, again, when you look at the free agency class that's coming up, I mean, I'll pull up the names right now. It's not great. I know Cade needs to get a deal, right? But when you look at the things that are going to end up happening when it comes to the way the NBA works, is you want to get all your guys, you want to spend all your cap space, then sign your players. So they're going to need to obviously extend guys like Duren eventually, Ivy, I believe, next season. But this year, you're going to have to extend Cade. So you want to, whatever that number is, it's a whole separate issue. You want to make sure you fill up cap space. I might as well do it with something good as opposed to, something bad. Like, I guess technically speaking, the Jeremy Grant thing wasn't bad, but you know what I mean? Like, or a Joe Harris situation, better example. You don't want to fill up your cap space with Joe Harris, right? You got Klay Thompson, unrestricted free agent. Tobias Harris is going to be unrestricted. I mean, obviously, they're probably interested in bringing Tobias in with how much you wanted to trade him. James Harden, free agent, probably not happening. Kyle Lowry, DeMar DeRozan, Buddy Hield, D'Angelo Russell, Gary Trent Jr., Markelle Fultz, Valanciunas, Malik Beasley, Tyus Jones. Not many needle movers, right? Again, name I did leave out there was Pascal Siakam. I think they wouldn't have really traded for him if they didn't think it was going to happen. But it is weird, though, when you look at Klay Thompson. He is technically, I think the second best odds was to go to Detroit, which was very interesting. It's like Detroit or Philly in terms of trade markets, which I think was very, very strange. Some weird offshore book, but I'm sure they know nothing. But, if you imagine the Pistons in like a crazy dream off scenario, that they signed Klay Thompson and Miles Bridges. Obviously, that's planet Mars that we're living on. Doctor Strange is a billion universes and maybe like one that happens. Probably not, though. But, I think Bridges, you got an angle, you can play the home angle. Obviously, maybe even trade for a guy to bring it in. But I think, again, you want to start spending that cap space before you have to extend your players so you don't get handicapped and then have to force to move on with any of these guys. But Even other guys here. Those are the UDFAs. Any restricted, I guess, restricted free agents get dumb. Let's see. Any guys with player options they could decline. Obviously LeBron, but come on. Paul George, Drew Holiday, OG Anunoby, KCP. Yeah, and then it starts to fall off a cliff. Yeah, KCP, Rashawn Holmes, PJ Tucker, Gary Payton, Caleb Martin, Reggie Jackson, Jalen Smith, Kevin Love, Russell Westbrook. Right. So you're going to those top few, but Drew Holiday, is he really going to spend the rest of his last few days in Detroit? No. OG Anunoby would be great if you would have traded for him, but he's probably going to stay with the Knicks. Paul George, I mean, I doubt it unless he wants his own team type deal. So that's what I'm saying. Is like when you really look at it, it's a really slim market. So the rest of these restricted free agents, I don't even know if there's anyone even mentioned on here. No, it's really most of the restricted guys are the dudes that got drafted a few seasons ago. Isaac Okoro, Patrick Williams, I'm sure we'll be interested in him because Troy loves him. But James Wiseman, Obi Toppin, Kira Lewis, Chuma Kiki, Sadiq Bey, Precious Achua, just names like that. So, and I think that's pretty much it. Club option, I guess. Last thing, see if there's anybody on here. Bruce Brown, Lonzo Ball, Evan Fournier, Luke Kennard. Yeah, I don't really see any of those really happening. So, really, when you look down, it's just kind of a guy like Bridges or just a bunch of middling free agents. So, I think it's pretty clear it's happening. I know it's going to be very, very, very controversial. I could imagine all of the radio stations on like 97 the Ticket, Woodward Sports are going to have a billion calls with it. One guy will say, "Oh, he's a dirty Spartan. He has the Davy issue, blah, blah, blah." The next day he'll be like, "Oh my God, he was so good at Michigan State. We can fix him, blah, blah, blah." And it's probably somewhere in the middle. I think Michigan State aside, obviously there's some pretty interesting concerns there. If you have an actual, Michigan, the Pistons don't really have the culture to like kind of say like if you were the Lions and you brought in a guy like this, I think it'd be like, okay, we have a strong enough culture with some good role models and leaderships and veterans, we can figure it out. Pistons, that's not really the case. So he's probably a bit more volatile, but he's got about a season and a half of very consistent elite basketball under his wings now since it's happened. I think if you like run like a simulated background check type deal, I don't know, you kind of interview him and you see where he's at, have like a therapist or something come in. I don't even know what I would do if I was them, but if you establish the fact that he's good enough to go, then I think you do. I think you bite the bullet and you kind of do it. This team is in such disarray and bad spots that you need guys like him, a younger type guy that can really, leverage the hometown aspect of it. Maybe have Izzo maybe come in and pitch recruiting or something. I don't even know how you would really get it done, but I think it's a no brainer. You got to do it. Because it's a super unique situation. If he doesn't have this situation, he's already under contract super long, right? So I think it's not to say to take advantage of a horrific situation, but he's a guy from Michigan with a very, big red flag. I think it's almost like if those things didn't happen, he wouldn't be interested. So you kind of got to bite the bullet and do it. That's just what I'm thinking. So obviously, sorry if there's any like trigger warnings to what we were talking about here. That's why I kind of didn't really even spill out what happened entirely. If you need to look it up, I'm not really going to provide any extra information because it's a horrific situation. So obviously don't condone that. But if the league is okay with it and the ownership's okay in doing such a thing, it happens. Guys like Kareem Hunt, it was on video, so it was a lot worse, same with Ray Rice and things like that. But, a guy like Tyreek Hill is still in the league. There's a lot of not great players and people that are in the league. So, as my guy Rico would say, some things are bigger than sports, but, if your team's this bad, kind of got to bite the bullet. So I know I'm kind of beating a dead horse there at the end, but yeah, that's what I've got. Let me know down below if you'd, I guess, be okay with it. If you'd think it'd be probably a good fit, who knows? I'll try to get some opinion from some of my good respected Pistons fans and Spartans. There's actually a pretty good overlap of those guys. But yeah, that's all I got for now. Like and subscribe. Let me know again what you think down below, and we'll see you guys next time. Peace.
Right here. Detroit, I'm all the way in. Detroit Pistons, I'm all the way in. Let's do it.